And anyway, so Barack Obama was speaking on television today, and one of the things that he said in his speech is that we need to get the economy going. His plan is to get the economy going, and what he said he wanted to do was we need to stimulate demand. We need to stimulate demand. Well, no, we don't. Demand doesn't have to be stimulated. Everybody wants everything. What we have to stimulate is supply. We have to stimulate production. Demand doesn't have to be stimulated. Everybody wants everything. What we have to stimulate is supply. We have to stimulate production.
Demand is never down. It's production that's down. It's supply that's down. That's what needs to be stimulated. I drove here in a car. I didn't fly here in my own helicopter. Well, I want one. I'd like to keep it parked on my yacht.
More evidence today of increasing weakness in the housing market. U.S. home prices may fall for the first time in 13 years, according to the National Association of Realtors. Professor Paul Krugman recently said the long-feared housing bust has arrived. Paul Krugman is professor of economics and international affairs at Princeton University and also a New York Times columnist. He joins us now in the studio. Great to have you here tonight.
Good to be on.
Well, it seems that every time we get some data about housing, it is not particularly good news. Are we now looking at a housing cycle that is something we have not seen in decades?
I think we're looking at a housing cycle we've never seen. I mean, you just look at a chart of real housing prices, and the run-up since 2000 is completely unprecedented in history. It's bigger than the run-up in, you had isolated housing bubbles, in the late 1980s in Southern California. This time we've got a national bubble that's bigger than what we had in the most bubblicious regions of the country and at the worst. So this looks like, if history is any guide, housing prices have got a long way to fall, and the housing industry is going to go through a long drought.
Now, you've recently raised concerns about a possible recession based on what we're seeing with the housing market if there are other factors in place. Tell us how worried you are about the overall effects of this.
Well, if you actually do the numbers, you say how big could this be on housing, plus the effect on consumers who've been, basically using their houses as an ATM and can't do that anymore, you're looking at a hit to the economy that is as big as what happened with the stock market crash at the end of the 90s, as big as the tech bust. What we don't know is how fast it comes on, and we don't know whether other things will, business investment will take its place. But you've got to say it's well in the range where a serious slowdown is likely, and an actual recession is certainly not outlandish. So this is scary.